Hello, good afternoon. My name is Raimo. I'm the head of partnerships at the Estonian E-Residency team, and welcome to the live Q&A of E-Residency. This time, very special one with many different E-Resident guests today. We are going to talk about E-Residency, Estonian company formation, but not only by E-Residency team or by the service providers, but we hear the real experiences and stories of E-residents. Let's take 1-2 minutes for gathering. At the same time, you are welcome to write in the chat where are you from joining today, maybe also give some ideas, what are the expectations today. But a couple of things I would like to point out today. During the whole event, it is possible to ask questions from the presenters and from us, but please do it through Q&A tab. Only the questions from Q&A tab will be answered. If you have the questions in the chat, it can be that someone answers there, but please do add your questions to the Q&A tab. Also, please be aware that if there are links to the Facebook or Reddit, WhatsApp, whatever kind of social media groups shared by other users or guests of the live Q&A, mostly they are independent groups, not managed or authorized by E-Residency team. I hope that you are going to enjoy today's event. We're gonna kick off very soon. So in the chat, you are welcome to chat. And if you have questions, please do add them to the Q&A session, Q&A tab, sorry. So what are we going to talk about today? About E-Residency, about Estonian company formation, and a little bit about technicalities of taxation and accounting and reporting for your Estonian company. And we have 4 awesome guests joining us today. We have Krista Bell from Gate to Baltics. She's responsible for accounting in the company that is helping E-residents in starting and running their businesses in Estonia. Then we have Martin Gregersen, a long-term E-resident, co-founder of Sign Online, Michael Opondo, who has even moved to Estonia, and then Ryan French, also as a well-known E-resident company founder. So first we are going to talk about E-Residency, and we will end it up with Q&A session. Then we talk about Estonian company formation and also most important questions that you probably have in terms of how and why to open a company in Estonia, how does the business banking look like, and so on. And then a little bit, not in an expert level, but in a general level, also about cross-border taxation and the reporting and accounting for the Estonian company. But now I give the floor shortly to Krista, who is going to talk about what is Gate to Baltics and what they are doing to help you. Hi, Krista.
Hi, Raimo, and hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I'm excited to share with you about who we are as a company and how service providers make the process of company formation simple and clear. So, as Raimo mentioned, my name is Krista. I'm a director and also head of accounting at Gate to Baltics. We are many of the licensed service providers. We work with international entrepreneurs like you who want to set up their business in Estonia, but run it from any place in the world by using a unique e-residency program. We support our clients from the very beginning. So before the company registration, we consult. And after you decide to form the company, We handle the registration process itself, and we also act as a contact person. Once company is established, we have in-house accounting team who will take care of your tax compliance, VAT reports, payroll, and annual reports, and provide contact person service. We also can assist with more complex corporate matters, such as shareholder agreements, stock option agreements for employees, or preparing special articles of association. In short, we act as a bridge between entrepreneurs and Estonian business ecosystem, helping to simplify what can be otherwise a complex process. So this is shortly about us.
Thanks. And Krista definitely is going to help us in answering some of the questions that you may have, as she has a hands-on experience in working with e-resident companies. But now, short introductions by our guests today as well. So please, Rian, stage is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Rian French. I'm actually based, or I live in Northwest Hampshire in the UK, and I'm joining you today from a co-working space just outside London, which is obviously one of the many benefits of e-residency, being able to work wherever suits you. I run a company called Maps and Legends PR, and we specialize in public relations for international projects in the geospatial and statistical spheres, which basically means we try to make information about maps and numbers accessible and interesting for people. Thanks, Raymond.
Great. That caught really my attention, what is going on in that field, but let's talk about it later. Now we have Martin Gregersen. You are joining us in Germany, I believe.
Yes, hello. Very nice to be here. Yeah, so I'm in Germany. The reason why I'm e-resident is because I want location independence. I want a business that will run for many, many years in a very solid environment. But personally, I want to be able to move around and live in different places around the world. So that's what e-residency allows me to have this freedom. Also, it's a very low ongoing cost for running the business. So I have a few businesses that I started, and the costs are so low that it's easy to start, let's say, one per group of co-founders, so that it's easier to attract investors into a separate project than if you do all of your ideas under one company. I have one announcement that I wanted to make today. I don't know if this is the time, but so I've been with the e-resident now 9 years, and working with the e-residency program many years. As we said, we set the world record in the quickest company registration. And last week I was in Tallinn and made a strategic partnership with Hannah Brown's company, Sounds and Stories, OU, which just formed, and she worked, let's say, used to be in this kind of event as well with the e-residency team, being the head of content for over 5 years. So I'm very excited now to be working for the next year with Sign Online with Hannah and her company. Other companies that need like content strategists, Hannah is a really go-to person to work with. And secondly, with Alistair Starling, also another e-residency envoy that I got to know through the e-residency program, also his company European Diplomats. If anyone is trying to sell to governments, that's a very hard and lengthy process. European diplomats are a group of mainly UK and German diplomats that went together and help startups sell to governments. So I highly recommend that, and I'm very proud to now do a 12-month partnership with those two. So that's the biggest success that I've achieved so far. So very happy to share with you and to be here today. Thank you.
Great, thanks. And then Michael, it may be that you are joining us also from Tallinn somewhere. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm currently based in Tallinn. I'm Michael Opondo. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, otherwise known as the capital city of Africa. I joined the e-residency in 2024, last year, February, and I moved to Tallinn in August of the same year, last year. So now I'm clocking 1 year in living in Estonia. My reason for the e-residency was because we were looking to set up a branch in Europe. Most of we do software development, so most of our clients were from Europe, and we needed to set up in Europe in a place where it's easier to do business. And Estonia has proved to be easier to do business, especially if you're looking to do business with the other European countries. So that's the reason why we settled on the e-residency, and I'm also a beneficiary of the startup visa, which is what enabled me to move to Estonia. All of this happened in a span of, I would say, 3 months of me coming to Tallinn to collect my e-residency card and getting the startup visa approval, and I went back to plan my return to Estonia, which was now August. So a lot of things happened in a very short time, thanks to the e-residency.
I would like to move on this why question, or why did you become e-resident? Why did you end up here? And you already, Michael, maybe it makes sense to continue with you. You already a little bit told us about it. What were your considerations, or were you considering between different jurisdictions, or what was the idea? How did you end up becoming Estonian e-resident? I don't know, applying for visas to come here?
So the considerations we had, I had were either Estonia. Actually, Estonia was not even in my radar at that time. I was looking at Portugal and Sweden, possibly. Sweden, the cost of moving there or setting up business would have been much more expensive. So Portugal was the core, the one that we were really focusing on setting up. But then in the course of trying to look for more and more information about setting up business in Portugal, and then it was versus Estonia, and then Estonia came into the radar, and compared to Portugal, it was much easier. With Estonia, even from the information online, I didn't need to go even through any consultancy. From the information, I could understand, okay, you go apply for the e-residency, there's a website, it's straightforward. There's not too many things going on. I applied for it, I got the response, I traveled to Tallinn, I collected the card, very straightforward. There's no things that you feel like you need to do further consultancy on. Of course, maybe it might be necessary in some cases, but in my case, it was very straightforward, and that was the reason why I settled in Estonia.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Ryan, why Estonia?
Well, a big thing called Brexit, really. After the EU voted to leave the EU, after the UK voted to leave the EU, rather, it was really unclear how Brexit was going to impact on businesses that provided services into Europe. And I'd spent many years building a very successful company that is very niche and very well known within its sector, which, as I say, is geospatial and statistics. So my clients, as well as myself, wanted continuity and certainty. I did look at whether I could set up a company in Ireland, but that seemed to be quite complicated and expensive. I had clients in Belgium, so I looked at Belgium, and Belgian red tape was just horribly off-putting. And then one of my clients worked with the Estonian Land Board, and they came to me. I contacted one of the contacts there, and they said, have you thought about e-residency? And to be honest, when I looked into it, my initial reaction was, this is a scam. This is so straightforward and so easy. This cannot possibly be a real thing. And then I'm a former journalist, so I looked into it in great detail and discovered it was backed by the government. And it was going to be an opportunity for me to still work within the European system, and particularly on EU-funded projects, which I'm very much involved in. And so I decided, I really liked the website. I really liked the people that I spoke to. Everybody was very welcoming. They were very professional. It was very clear. And as Michael says, it was super quick. I actually applied in the middle of COVID. So I was a bit longer getting my ID card, but only because I needed to go up to London to collect it, and I couldn't do that until the lockdown restrictions had lifted. So it was a super quick, very cost-effective process. And I knew that I wanted a business. I didn't just want to be an e-resident. I wanted to incorporate my business because that was really important to my clients who operate, as I say, within the European systems, but also within the UN systems and national systems. So it just gave them that extra benefit of knowing they were dealing with a business, and as an EU entity I still have access to the single market. So actually what e-residency did is it provided certainty, not just to me but to my clients as well, and I haven't really looked back since then.
Thanks. You have been e-resident for several years now, so it cannot be always like only butterflies and honey. Is there something you would say for the potential e-residents that they should definitely think through before applying or establishing company in Estonia?
That's a really good question. I wanted to do my due diligence because, as I say, it did seem too good to be true. And I've literally just renewed my e-residency for another 5 years. So I honestly can't think of any major downsides. I have a fantastic service provider called Zolo who do all my accounts for me. Although I write about numbers, I do words. I genuinely do not understand accounts. I don't understand finance. They deal with all the legalities. And I really can't think of a downside. The only downside for me, I think, is that I haven't yet made it out to Tallinn because business circumstances have meant that I've been traveling elsewhere. So I think do your due diligence, make sure it's right for you. It may not be right for everybody. It was exactly the right decision for me, and think carefully about it. Don't assume it's going to give you the right to live in Estonia or become an Estonian citizen, because that's not what it's about. But what it does do, and this is another positive, is it's opened up the opportunity to be part of a very inspiring and innovative community. So I've met people that I wouldn't have met otherwise who are fellow e-residents from all over the world. I've had opportunities to go to networking, to speak to ambassadors, to speak at events like this. And to meet really interesting people. So I think one of the things you have to ask yourself is not only what are you going to get out of it, but what are you going to put into it? Because it is becoming, it's so welcoming, and it is a community. And I do feel in a strange way, as I say, even though I haven't been there yet, that Estonia is sort of my second country. So I'm eager to put in as much into the initiative as I get out of it, and I think that's quite an important consideration, because I think to really reap all the benefits, it's got to be a two-way process. I don't really know if that answered your question.
No, of course, it gave a totally other perspective. From Martin, I would like to ask about the learning curve, as you have established at least 2, maybe even more legal bodies in Estonia, or have been here e-resident for the longest. Like, what have you learned during this process? What has changed, or what are the the wisdom that you have gained throughout the fact that you have at least twice or at least once already prolonged your e-residency?
Okay, I'll try to find what is maybe most relevant after 9 years now. So yes, I renewed my e-residency once and will do it soon again. I've co-founded or co-founded six legal entities in Estonia. The reason why the number is so high is just because it doesn't cost that much. It's less than 300 euros to start it. So that's not the biggest cost involved. That would be closing it. So if you say I want to close it, that costs maybe like 750, 800. There's different offer depending on the service provider. From liquidation could even be over 1,000 euros or less. So, and also you have to wait. So if I liquidated one company, because that's one big learning. You don't have to make extra companies if you have more businesses ideas. You can do up to 5 different business activity codes per year in your OU. So, and that's what I really like. It's a huge benefit compared to other countries, where other countries you have to say first, I will make this business, this is what I will do, this is the registry and so on. And then you start the company, and then you have to pivot after 1 month or 2 months because you can't find clients. That's the real world for startups. And so in Estonia, it's at the end of the financial year that you say, what was it that we did last year? And then if you did, you can even do several different business activities in the same OU, and they will be, your main activity will be according to the revenue you make. So that's amazing to just have this environment where you can run many parallel businesses within one company instead of making separate companies. So the reason why I did make several companies is that I started just with a consultation company for myself. Anyone who is consultant, IT programmer, any kind of freelancer, do stuff online, like not physically. E-Residency is a good fit, like knowledge-based or something. But if you are then after some years start to go maybe to Tallinn, and you go there and you meet other people and you make some friends, and then after some years maybe you start a company with some other e-residents. This also happened to me several times. Then it's good to have a new company where you own this company together, for example. You can get an investor inside just for this one app like Sign.online, which we started 3 years ago. So yeah, I don't think there's a risk. Anyway, so just to short the answer, I think that's the biggest thing. Don't start a lot of companies without having an investor ready or really good reason, and you can do many businesses within one.
Okay, that's really a good point, especially the many activities in one company. That's a good point. No one has actually brought it up in our webinars before. So good one, thank you. Anyway, now I would like to share you some information about how does the applying works actually. Just to be very clear, as already Ryan also mentioned, that it's a digital access to Estonia. So E-Residency is Estonian state-run program that gives you a digital identity that gives the access to Estonian e-services to run a business. I don't know, to manage your assets in Estonia, to make the cooperation culturally, maybe scientifically with Estonian partners and so on. It enables you to give a digital signature with the highest possible security standard in the European Union. In Estonia, everything that you sign digitally is exactly the same as the handwritten signature. And then, of course, it's the key to your business opportunities here in Estonia. And as already mentioned by our guests, it gives you the access to the global community. We have seen several new businesses coming up from e-residents who have met each other through our community. And then, to be very clear, it does not give you any physical access to Estonia, so it's not a travel document. Once you get your e-residency card, it even does not have a picture on it. So it does not give you any citizenship, residence permit, visa, and it does not change your personal tax residency. So even if your company is in Estonia, then you as a private person still are the tax resident of the country you are living in. And also it does not guarantee you neither business nor personal bank account. We'll talk about business banking later a little bit. Who can apply? Individuals who are not Estonian residents or Estonian citizens, not living here. You should have an interest to use our services and to benefit from the possibilities that are opened for you thanks to the fact that you get an access to Estonia digitally. There are restrictions for new applications for Russian and Belarusian citizens. And from the 1st of October, there will be application restrictions for people who are coming from the countries that Estonia does not have any bilateral cooperation of justice, security, and law enforcement. So there will be a short list of countries where, unfortunately, it is not possible to apply for e-residency in Estonia unless they fall under some certain type of exceptions. Application works like this. You need to fill in the application online, which takes about 30, 40, 50 minutes, depends on how well are you prepared, have you got all your documents with you and so on. Then you need to wait for the approval. Officially, it is up to 30 days. Usually it has been much quicker, but sadly we need to say that currently the waiting times are a bit longer than usual because of the huge interest and the summer season. So please be patient if it goes a bit longer than usual. You will get the notification by the police and border guard once your application is accepted, and you get the information about your card delivery. Now, during the application stage, you need to choose the place where you would like to pick up your Estonian e-residency card. And the third step is that you actually need to go and visit physically the office where you can meet the Estonian official, pick up your card, your starting kit, give your fingerprints and signature. And this is actually the only time you need to meet Estonian officials face to face. Other than that, it's always digital that is solving all the things you need to do for your company or for you personally. But one physical visit to Estonian representative office is mandatory. And then basically you can install your card and software and start using your card right away for opening a company, for example. Basically, it may work like this, that once you exit the door of the embassy, you sit down the cafe next to the embassy and start a company, and then it's all up and running quite soon. The pickup locations are mainly in Estonian embassies. In some cases also there are consular missions taking place in Europe or globally, where Estonian officials go to the locations for certain limited amount of time and hand out the cards for people who have appointed the meeting there. Just be aware that if there is no pickup location in your country, you may need to have a cross-border travel, and it makes sense to check out whether you need a visa to enter the country where you would like to go for picking up the card. Generally, the Europe is very well covered. There are Estonian embassies in most of the bigger capitals in Asia and North America. And our newest and hottest additions in terms of interest have been this year Buenos Aires and Sao Paulo's two pickup locations in Latin America that were opened in the beginning of the year, and also Bangkok in Thailand were added. And fingers crossed, maybe one day there will be more. So, but now we are going to have a few questions that we are going to answer. I see that mostly the questions are related to company formation. There is a question about whether the recording will be available later and slides. Yes, recording will be available in our YouTube channel. The slides will be downloadable already. On the last slide, there will be a QR code for the website that you can download, but you will get also a separate email about the follow-up materials. I would maybe ask a question from Krista. I have seen a couple of questions related to that. What are the main like potential obstacles or problems people are facing when they are applying for e-residency? Maybe let's say that there is an e-resident who already turns to you with a plan that later I would like to open a company, but now I'm planning to apply for e-residency. So what are the recommendations for you, or how can I do that? So what's your take or your recommendation, what they should really think through first?
Yeah, so they need to really think through why they need a company. So how big the company will be. It will be like one member of the board, or later on they will want to add the second member of the board. Also, as I am more related to accounting, then also it's good to think what kind of accounting you want to. Do you want to like annual accounting or monthly accounting? And because this will be related to a cost to your business. Also, you want to be considering like what type of business you do. Is it consulting? Is it B2B? Is it B2 to customer? Do you want to use a Stripe, for example? So all these questions is good to consider before you even start the company.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I would like to actually move on here now to our guests again, as we are going to start covering the part related to companies and company formation. Maybe question to Ryan first. How has been the company administration for you so far? What has been maybe the main things you would like to point out as benefits, and maybe something that you were a bit surprised of, that you needed to do that, or something that's very different from what you have used to so far?
Thank you. To be absolutely honest, I pay a service provider to do all my company administration. So from my point of view, that's money very well spent, because they understand the Estonian administration landscape very well, and I don't actually have to think about it, which is very much how I like to run my business. I like to focus on the provision to clients of the communications and public relations. So there's nothing that I found particularly difficult. There is a little bit of admin to be done in terms of signing off annual reviews, annual reports. That works really well for me. There was, in terms of taxes, I've still not completely got my head around quite how the tax for the company works. But as I say, I've got a service provider who does understand it, and I just pretty much do what they tell me to do, because I trust them so much. But if I recall rightly, when I set up the business, I put a pot of money into pay certain taxes, and the tax seems to be very, very cost effective, particularly in comparison to the UK. And I still have some of that pot of money left, so I've not had to add to that at all. But in terms of exactly how that works, I really can't tell you, because, as I say, I'm a words creative person, not finance. In terms of things that I wasn't expecting, I didn't really know what to expect, to be honest. It seemed at the start a very strange way to go about doing your business, and all the regulations, meeting the regulations, doing it all online. But actually, I've come to just take that in my stride. It's just become part of doing business. And when I'm working in the UK, I find it quite frustrating that I can't do that. So it's an interesting comparison. All my accounting is done online, so I do upload things online. Receipts, and again, it's all digital, so it's been really quite straightforward. And I can't really think of anything that's other than that initial sort of crumbs. This is all online, and it really is all digital, and I just plug in my card and off I go. I can't really think of anything else that really surprised me. I think it was very well explained online, so there weren't any big surprises. It was just a change in culture for me, really.
Thank you. Michael, I have a question for you. You have a startup that you are building here in Estonia. What has been, in addition to the fact that you have the Estonian company for your EU presence and business, what's your take on Estonian startup ecosystem, and what has been the benefits, or maybe also the more difficult parts for you becoming part of it, or joining the startup ecosystems here? And also you can elaborate a bit on your experience with Startup Accelerator here in Estonia.
I think I'm basing this also in comparison with my experience back in Kenya. The main difference that I've experienced with the startup scene in Estonia is that here it is much more expertise based. By expertise based, I mean if my company or my team knows how to deliver a specific service, software development in this case, it does not matter how long I've been in the field. It doesn't matter who I know, or what. All that doesn't matter. As long as I can prove to the client that I can deliver what needs to be delivered, then that's it. That's a very big difference from the startup scene back home, where mostly it is introduction based. And then the main challenge I've had is with the language. The Estonian language is a bit tough, but I'm learning. But I need it for me to fully integrate into the startup scene. On the other hand, also the other difference that I've experienced that maybe back home is better than Estonia is that in Estonia, Tallinn is a very small place. Everybody knows everybody. Back home, it's a bigger space. There's a startup scene in Nairobi, in Kisumu, and they're all separate. And sometimes you have a lot more room to move around. And one mistake in a small scene can sometimes cost you a long-term business prospects. So that's a downside of the Tallinn startup scene. I've not fully experienced the tattoo startup scene as much, but I would assume based on my experience with Tallinn, it's also as that small. So yeah, that has been my experience so far.
How does the Estonian company as a structure has worked for you so far?
It's pretty easy to run. Things are very straightforward. Very straightforward in running of things, managing the payroll, managing the taxes. Everything is very straightforward and well explained online. And the other thing also is the police here are always much willing to explain things that you are not clear on. Even the tax office, I've had one visit to them. They will take time to explain to you every single thing in detail so that you do things the correct way.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mike. For Martin, from you, I would like to ask the community perspective as well. You have been active part of the e-residence community for many years. How and whether at all has the community part supported you in your business and in running your Estonian companies? Maybe you have any good examples on that as well.
How in running, yes. So I think in the beginning, as Rian said, E-Residency is a key to an ecosystem. It's basically like you have a ticket to a concert, but if you don't go, you're not going to hear the music or make any friends. And so E-Residency is the same thing. 5 years, you can go to this online platform, start a company if you want. And so what? You can start a company. Then yeah, it's your responsibility. It's a legal person. What will you do with it? If you do nothing with it, okay, there's some cost to close it after 5 years or whatever, but what you really do with it, that matters. So in the beginning, it was just practically for me to have an EU company and send invoices with European VAT on a monthly basis from anywhere in the world. Good. But then after 2 years, it was like, okay, I miss a bit like other people, even though it's actually nice to not be disturbed and be focused and alone. I like that a lot. But after some years, okay, where's the other people? And I heard about an event in Estonia, the Digital Nation Hackathon, where 100 people was invited to get together and try to make something big in 2 days in a small island in Vormsi in Estonia. And I applied there and I went to the event, and that was like the starting point where I joined a team. We were like 9 people from all over. And through that, I met people that are today service provider. I met someone who was a co-founder. I met someone who became friend. And then some I never met again. But going to physically to events, could be a meetup or startup conference, or just writing a company an email, hey, can I come and visit your office in Tallinn, or makes a huge a difference. So as I said, now today there's some from the community that I have started companies with, or that I work as a service provider for them, or consultant, or vice versa. So as in real world, the community is essential and can be a huge asset in running your business going forward, but you have to go and find that. It will probably not find you. So yeah.
Thank you, Martin. So now we're gonna come back to you all again soon, but now we go over some practical parts of company formation in Estonia. So we can compare ourselves with different places, and definitely Estonian is not a winner in all the aspects, but some things we are proud to bring out is, first of all, that actually once you have your residency company formation can really be done really quickly. As said, world record is 15 minutes. Usually, if everything is in order, you get your company up and running, ready to invoice first customers for the next by the next business day, maybe even the same day if you submit your application in the morning. There is no mandatory local agent or director here. You only need to appoint a contact person. We're going to talk about it a bit later. Everything really can be done digitally. And thanks to the fact that the whole system is online, accounting structures are pretty straightforward. Then actually number of hours you need to invest in filing taxes, writing reports is significantly lower than many other places in Europe and in the world. And even if you outsource it for your service provider, it can be still more cost efficient than doing it yourself. And now there are, we can say, three main stages of your Estonian company life cycle. Of course, first is logging in and starting a company. You can do it independently, but mostly the help of service providers like Krista is usually used. Then you can choose the business banking provider and start invoicing and working as a real company. Then the running part involves also everything related to being compliant with the rules in Estonia, signing documents, reporting, and also outsourcing the tasks that you don't want to deal with. And then there are also growth opportunities in Estonia. On paper, your Estonian company is exactly the same legally as my Estonian company, which means that if there are grants that you think you would be suitable to apply for, then you can apply. Specific rules for specific grants may apply. So it may mean that you have some connections to Estonia or person working for you in Estonia, for example. But all in all, legally, there is no difference of Estonian and e-resident companies. They all are based on the same legal framework. And also you can benefit of joining accelerators, incubators in Estonia as a startup and meet people like Martin also recommended. Now the service providers. As Krista said, they have one of the companies that is dealing with contact person and legal address services, accounting and legal support. There is one service that is quite likely something you need is the contact person. So if you are residing outside of Estonia and none of your founders or employees is based in Estonia, then you need to appoint a contact person in Estonia who, in the eyes of the state of Estonia, is the one who needs to receive and hand on official documents. So let's say that the Estonian state wants to send you something on paper, which is usually not happening. But let's say, I don't know, court order, for example, or proof letter of something, then they hand it over for your service provider. And in the eyes of state, it's handed over. And this is their obligation to send it for you where you actually are based on. I, as a random person in Estonia, cannot act as your contact person unless I'm hired by you or I'm a co-founder of your company. So contact person services are either provided by the law offices, for example, or notaries, or by the licensed service providers who are supervised by financial intelligence unit. So companies like K2 Baltics need to be compliant to certain rules, which also means that once you start your company, you can expect some due diligence done by the company that is going to be your contact person. So in addition to going through the application form and giving information about yourself for the police and border guard, when you start opening a company, your contact person needs to know what's the business you are going to run, where the money is coming from, and so on. So they are going to ask a bit similar questions that banks usually ask for opening an account. Now, if you are wondering what service provider to choose, then we have a great tool that can help you. In E-Residency website, there is a marketplace of service providers. where you can choose the ones that are most suitable for your potential Estonian company. There are the corporate service providers who can offer you the contact person, legal address services, accounting, legal support, tax consulting. But also there are companies that are helping with recruitment or hiring in Estonia. I saw some questions about it. Hiring in Estonia is definitely a good idea. Or also there are co-workings, and also our partner accelerators are listed there. So definitely this is a good place to start investigating which service provider to choose. And what we also have in our website is our own funding and growth page, where is probably one of the best lists in English of funds, grants, programs that you as an entrepreneur starting an Estonian business could benefit from. There are also accelerators listed. All the rows there may not be up to date all the time. So if you find that there is an accelerator that you are potentially interested in, definitely visit their own website for the very updated information about the application deadlines. So e-residents are welcome to use these opportunities. Now, what kind of companies and how? So Estonian e-residents tend to choose usually the form of private limited company, which is OÜ in Estonian. It's the most popular business form also among locals. Limited liability of the shareholders. Share capital is basically 1 euro cent. Usually it's rounded up to 1 euro. So it's easy, low barrier to start, and it's suitable. It doesn't matter whether you have one or many founders. It's suitable for both. So quite often people that have been freelancers in their home country decide to start a private limited company in Estonia for the same kind of business. There are also other types. You can actually register non-profit association in Estonia as well as an e-resident or branch of your local company. It can be also public company, partnership. The only thing you cannot do, you cannot register yourself as a sole trader in Estonia as an e-resident. Now, the potential costs. It always depends on, of course, the company that you are going to use for your company services, as well as your needs and for example, the volumes of invoices. There are two definite costs that you cannot change. First is e-residency application fee, which is 150 euros per founder. So if there are more than one founder, then every person needs to apply separately. And then the company registration state fee is 265 euros. Sometimes also service providers add some extent for the services on top of it. Roughly contact person for a first year or for 1 year is 200 to 400 euros, but usually the services that you potentially need are packaged into one subscription-based fee, which you pay monthly based on the amounts of invoices processed on the accounting side. And the accounting prices may vary very largely based on, of course, again, how many transactions you are having. They start from 30, 40 euros, maybe 50 euros, and go up to a couple of hundreds of euros if you are running an e-commerce company with hundreds or thousands of transactions. So this is very rough estimate. K2 Baltics may say that it's a bit more, but then again, maybe also the service is much more personalized. So it all depends on the company. Now, if you have done already some background work about e-residency, you have probably stumbled upon the question, what about business banking? There are 3 options to open a business banking account for your company. It depends on who accepts you as a customer, and nothing is guaranteed by your service provider or by us. It all depends on your business and your applications. So Estonian banks, it is possible to have account in some of them, but there are 2 things you need to keep in mind. First of all, in order to get it opened, you need to come physically to Estonia to show yourself in the bank office to get everything verified and open. And mostly banks in Estonia would like to see a strong business ties to Estonia for the e-resident company, which usually means that you have either employees here, office here, significant part of your business takes place here, or you have a lot of customers here, or your suppliers, some of them are here, IP or some other assets registered in Estonia. So they would like to see business ties to Estonia. It's generally. But it always defined differently, depending also, of course, like where are your transaction partners based and so on. But mostly e-residents tend to choose fintech solutions like Wise, Revolut, Vamo, Narvi, Payoneer, something like this. You can open an account online. The choice is wide. Onboarding is usually a bit more simple and straightforward than traditional banks. And you don't have to come to Estonia to get the account opened. The only thing is that you usually don't have an opportunity to use any credit services or business loans, leasing, and so on. And there is also a third option. Let's say in your home country, you have a good established relationship with certain bank for your other businesses. Then you can turn, for example, to your local home bank as well and ask for whether they are happy to open also a business account for you for your Estonian company. Maybe that they can do it, but it's also likely that they will ask a lot of extra questions like why Estonian company and so on. But it is acceptable to have a bank account in other European Economic Zone bank, which is also, for example, Switzerland. So existing client relations may be something that helps you. And we have a lot of options available on our marketplace as well. Now you can go and compare different options. Pricing may be different, and also there will be restrictions for every fintech based on their risk appetite of the geography of the applicant, or also the industry, that there are some industries that may be more restricted than others. Now, let's move on with the Q&A session about the company formation. I believe there are some questions for Krista, definitely. There have been several questions about Stripe. Krista, would you like to explain a bit, like, in order to get the Stripe account for your Estonian company, based on my best knowledge, you yourself need to be also from the country that is in the list of accepted countries by the Stripe. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. So you basically, if you're not sure if you're listed in PayPal or Stripe list, then it's best to contact them directly. But it doesn't mean that you need to be in Estonia. So if you're in another country which is accepted, you can have Estonian company and be e-resident in the other country which is acceptable by PayPal or Stripe.
Okay. Then I remember there was also a question maybe worth explaining to others as well. What if you have co-founders in Estonia? Do you need a contact person? And another question is that if you for some reason need to change the service provider, what happens then?
Yes, if you have any local like an employee or co-founder here in Estonia, then you don't need a contact person. You can use like office address or that person address. However, if you have a contact person and you want to change it, then obviously you need to notify that you are changing, or if they are canceling the contact person, then within a few months, the registry will send you a notification that you need to have a local legal address, and then you will need to find a new one.
And if your previous contact person canceled the contract, or you are just would like to change the service provider, what's the process looks like?
So the best process is to find a new contact person, and they will do, like, for example, if you want to switch to us, then we will go to business registry. We'll change it to our business address, and all you need to do is just to sign. So we will have the one, like next year, you will have our legal address and pay state fee.
Okay. And there is a question about the first year costs that were from some of the slides. the amounts that were given there were approximate, of course, and if I was adding there the 200 to 400 euros a year as a contact person, this is only for those contact person services and usually used by the companies that do not have any business activity yet. So it may be that people incorporate in Estonia, but they don't start the business activities right away, so not money coming in and out of the company. In that case, you don't need like monthly accounting, I believe. If you have nothing to declare or no money is coming up and out, in and out, only the annual report is needed. Then this is the most cheapest way of running it. But as said before, your monthly fee mostly depends on the volumes and also the complexity of the accounting. Maybe you can, Krista, can also elaborate a bit like what makes accounting less expensive or more expensive. Depends on like complexity.
Yes. So again, it depends on accounting firm how they count the transaction or turnover. For example, in our company, we count the transactions. We also can have fixed price. So the more activity you have, the more transaction we need to report. Or for example, how many employees you have. Do you have a VAT number? So do we require doing monthly returns or it's just annual report? So it all really depends. So it can start from 50 euros a month if you're not if you're very small, and it can go up like hundreds, depending on all your needs. But it can be discussed before even you sign up for the service.
There is someone who is interested potentially forming tulundusühistu, commercial association. Do you help with that kind of request as well?
We certainly can, but we don't recommend.
Okay, so whoever
is the best, yes.
Whoever asked it, then we recommend to talk to Krista. What are the pros and cons of having it instead of OÜ? And there was one question also about the voucher finance for startups, 15 to 25K for development of activities. I'm sorry, I haven't heard anything about that measure, although there are different grant options available. So what I would recommend is to go to our funding page to check what's available. Also, we have a marketplace member called easy.de, which is an AI tool for matching your company profile with potential grants that may be a good fit for you, and start from there. But there is one more question. What is the best way to receive payment to my personal account from my Estonian OÜ company as a freelancer, through dividends or by taking salary? So maybe, although we are going to cover now the taxation basics, then maybe, Krista, you can start with it already.
Yes, of course. So you have many options. So like dividends is taxed in Estonia and can be additional tax in the residency country. It depends on where you're located. By taking in like a freelance salary, again, if you're not going to be paying taxes, if you're not located in Estonia, you're not paying taxes in Estonia. That means that you need to declare your own taxes in your residency country. And we are not able to consult what are the requirements in the residency country where you are. So you will need to maybe have additional tax consultant to be sure that you are applicable, compliant.
Thank you. But now what we are going to do as a last part of today's webinar is to talk a little bit about the basics of taxation and the reporting. So personal income is declared where you are tax resident. So basically, if you are residing, I don't know, let's say in Belgium, then and if you pay yourself a salary, then your personal income needs to be declared and taxed based on Belgian rules. Corporate income tax is declared where the company is registered. So for Estonian company in Estonia, or if you have a permanent establishment in other country, we'll talk about it a little bit soon, then also you need to declare and potentially pay corporate income tax in the country where the permanent establishment is. connected to personal income tax, social taxes are declared where your employees are located and registered. So if you have employees in Estonia, you need to pay Estonian social taxes. If they are in other places, then according to the local rules. And then there is a value-added tax. So there is a threshold in Estonia. But you need to also show the activities in Estonia for having the VAT number. And also you, as an online seller or e-commerce company, you can benefit from the OSS, IOSS schemes in declaring them in one of the EU countries where your VAT is registered, Estonia, for example. So by default, Estonian company is a tax resident of Estonia from the day you are registered and added to the Estonian commercial register. But you may have a permanent establishment in some other countries. So let's say that the very significant amount of your business takes place in one certain location. There are a lot of customers in one place. Then it can be that your local tax authorities consider it to be a permanent establishment in this country, and then you need to be also aware of the taxation there and potentially pay also some corporate tax there or some other taxes. So what we always recommend, as we are not experts in taxation and don't give detailed tax advice, we recommend to consult and invest a couple of hours of to the knowledge of tax advisor with whom you can discuss your structure of the company, where the money is coming in, where do you pay it out, and then figure out whether you may have a permanent establishment in some other countries and what are potentially your obligations related to taxation for the company. However, what you should know is that Estonia has signed more than 60 double taxation avoidance treaties. So you shouldn't be double taxed for the same thing in many different places. So definitely you should check first whether Estonia has the contract with your country, and then you can also actually read the content of the treaty as well. I think they are available in Estonian Foreign Ministries or Estonian Ministry of Finance website. And then, of course, reporting and accounting. Once you have transactions coming in and out, there may be a need for regular reporting, which is, of course, done online. And it's pretty easy. I have been owner of the company since 2009. I really suck at mathematics, but I still am able to do my tax returns myself, usually. Although I have started using accountant recently, because then I found out just they do it better than I do. But you need to be aware that, for example, if you have a VAT number, then you have to submit VAT reports as well. And then, of course, annual report. It's at least once a year. It's once a year that you need to submit the annual accounts. If you have a very small micro company with no business activity, it is possible to do very easy, very quickly applicable annual report that you can submit in commercial register. And yes, you shouldn't be double taxed, and consult your local tax advisor or international tax expert to be very sure that you are doing everything correctly. And a couple of things, probably, especially compared to many very big countries that has a long history of building up difficult to understand and complex tax systems, is that Estonian tax regulation has been pretty easy, straightforward, not too many exceptions, and rates are generally pretty low. Regarding corporate income tax, there is no fixed annual corporate income tax. So it means that until the profit is reinvested in the company, there is no mandatory corporate income tax. But on distributed profits, the corporate income tax is 22%. However, it may be different if you have a permanent establishment in other country. The VAT rate in Estonia is 24% for sales in Estonia. There is a mandatory VAT registration since 40K threshold a year. earned in Estonian transactions. But if you want to have it voluntary one below that threshold, be aware that you need to be able to prove business activity related to Estonia. And then there are some new initiatives also, EU-wide 100,000 euro threshold for turnover within EU that you can benefit from if you have a small company, and then OSS and IOSS regimes to simplify the VAT reporting for e-commerce businesses, for example. You can declare and pay everything online. I have been founder since 2009 and paid personal taxes since 2001. And I have only once, first time I went to work during the university, I had to submit something on paper. Later, I've never visited tax authorities or never sent something on paper to the state. And it works like this for e-residents as well. And as also Michael commented, then tax board in Estonia is not seen as something super scary that you cannot even look at. So their way of approaching the questions and the shortcomings is consultation and support. So if you have done something incorrectly, they notify you, and if you are not able to get help from your service provider, you can turn directly to the tax board, and they are usually able to help you also in English language. But and then, of course, last thing I would like to point out is that for benefit fully the tax system and also to have a better opportunity to open a business banking account in traditional Estonian bank, it makes sense that if your business needs and it then build a substance in Estonia for renting an office, hiring someone in Estonia, holding a board meetings here, registering assets and IP in Estonia, or relocating here with the startup visa, for example, or becoming a digital nomad. So these things could improve your connections to Estonia and open up new growth possibilities. For example, also regarding the grants. You may have a higher likelihood to be a successful applicant of grants given out by Estonian state. But as a last question for our lovely guests today, how have you managed all those taxation and reporting part? Has it been difficult or not so difficult for you? And what have been something that you have thought that it's maybe unusual or you didn't expect that? Martin, you have several companies, maybe even several service providers, several ways of being connected to Estonia. So what's your take on all this?
Yes, so I have currently 4 different service providers for different legal entities. And the way I choose them is based on the value I get back from them. So there's actually some reasons why I would have 4 different ones for different companies. One is because it's usually like the cheapest for the services I need. So if you have a business where you don't have a VAT number, you don't need the monthly accounting, you just need like an annual report once a year, then you can find like quite affordable solutions for that. But if you have monthly VAT reporting, you go on business trip, traveling around the world, you have many different expenses, you're not sure what is covered or not, and you need a personal support to make sure that everything is deducted that can be. You need a more premium accounting services on a monthly basis. And then there's about volume. So if you have like e-commerce and you have, let's say, 10,000 invoices per month, there's some service provider who have automations and systems in place that can help you process a large number, and others don't. So if you choose the one that does everything per hand, and they have to charge per document, and it's going to be too expensive for your business. So you really have to go and figure out what does your business look like in a few years when it's super successful. Where are you going towards? Because it's like getting into a relationship or moving in with someone in the house. So once you get things together, it's very hard. You need to have a lot of trust. And if things don't work out, it's not so cool. So I had to switch several times service providers for different reasons, and it's not cool to switch. So think about what kind of business you have when it's successful, and then make sure that you at least talk with like 3 different service providers before you choose one, because yeah, it's easy to just click and sign up quickly, but you will work with them for years to manage your company, and it could be a difference of thousands of euros plus and minus over the long run if you find the right partner. So it's all up to you. Know what you want, what you need. Go in the marketplace, E-Residency marketplace, and choose one from there. There's like 50 different options. Take the time to figure it out and talk with them, because it's a really, I think in your whole e-residency journey, this is the biggest crucial point that you could easily make very good or wrong. Choose your business partners for success. Yeah.
Thank you. Ryan, have you used also the help of tax advisors to figure out like how to navigate between UK, Estonia, other places?
Yeah, absolutely. I have accountants in Estonia and I have accountants in the UK, and they keep me compliant and on top of everything. And I think Martin's advice is essential. You have to do your research beforehand to find the best fit for you. And Marketplace does have a huge number of different providers, and it's good to talk, to several before you make that ultimate decision, because it is absolutely one of the biggest, if not the biggest decision you're going to make in your e-residency business and business journey. So I'm also a great believer in everybody brings an element of expertise. Working in a really niche company myself, so my expertise absolutely is not accounts, it's not taxation, it's not finance. So finding the right fit for me with the expert advice, that was really important. And I think that's excellent advice.
Thank you. Michael, what's your experience with being compliant, all the rules and reporting and taxes?
My biggest surprise has been how helpful the relevant agencies are in terms of assisting in staying compliant. That was very unusual for me, because in as much as the processes are very straightforward and explained, and sometimes like Ryan says, sometimes it looks like a scam because of how easy it is. The agencies that are relevant, they're also very, very helpful. They'll email you. If you call them, they'll respond. If maybe you leave your details with them, they will also call you back to follow up. They're very helpful to ensure that you're compliant. That has been really helpful for me to set up and run the business so far.
Thank you. To conclude it, Krista, everything related to accounting, taxes, reporting, what kind of sources you would recommend potentially resident to look for or read or get to know? And is there any specific type of taxes or aspects of all this taxation accounting part you especially recommend people to think through?
Well, the best place to start is E-Residency website. So you provide a lot of information in very detail. The next page is we have it like tax by the tax office. It's called emta.ee. But I really liked what Ryan said, that she doesn't even maybe understand everything of the tax aspects. And she doesn't need to understand because she does the business. So I really recommend to find like a trusted service provider or accountant who can go through your specific needs, explain you everything, and you don't need to do that all by yourself.
Indeed. So yes, what I would recommend to wrap it up is that I actually think you can find a lot of useful information from our knowledge base, where our questions and answers, even like based on different kind of taxes about the VAT, corporate income tax, how to pay for employees. But in addition to that, definitely you should check our blog, where there are some longer articles about maybe changes that has taken place related to taxation, as well as also about certain type of taxes. There have been some different considerations related to VAT recently, so it makes sense to read that through as well. And of course, turn to your service provider. Thank you for joining us today. Now on the slide, I hope you see there is a QR code. I believe that if I did everything correctly, then the slides of today's webinar are already available there. But you will get also the follow-up email with some feedback form and links to the presentation afterwards as well. The video recording will be available in E-Residency YouTube channel in a few days. And I'm really happy that you joined today. If you have any other questions related to E-Residency, you can always write to our support as well. We have very knowledgeable colleagues who can help you with getting the answers. Thanks for joining, and have a nice afternoon here. And thank you so much for our lovely guests today. I hope it was a bit more diverse than usual to hear very different stories of E-residents. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.